Welcome back to On the Brink. Every fortnight, we speak to accomplished founders and industry experts about the fine line between breakdown and breakthrough. I'm Shailene, and today I'm so excited to introduce Cai Felip, the co-founder and CEO of Union Avatars. Kai has spent over 5 years leading Union Avatars, now a company that offers the fastest and easiest tool to create realistic avatars from a single selfie. Founded in 2020, the company has most recently gotten global fashion brand Mango on board through Mango Startup Studio, which is its accelerator. Their investment is set to help Union Avatars scale their business model and so much more. So now at the forefront of digital identities, Kai has plenty of insights to share. It's great to have you on the show, Kai. Thank you so much. How are you?
Thank you for the invitation. Really good.
Great. All right. So let's just jump straight into it. Starting with, as I mentioned, Union Avatars has been innovating in this digital identity space for 5 years now. So easy to say that you guys are ahead of the curve. How did this start?
Basically, I've been a gamer during all my life, with identity solutions.
Mhm.
I was trying different solutions for identity management. It's hard to have an identity that can be used current in a recurring way for the time in different platforms. And sometimes you end up with a fragmented identity across different platforms. So I try to join all this, let's say, to see how we will represent ourselves in these 3D virtual worlds that are coming.
Amazing. And it looks like it's going very well. So its technology allows users to generate detailed 3D avatars from a single photo. So I just want to ask you, how do you see this tech impacting user experiences in the next few years, especially based on the changes you've already seen?
I think that there is a shift on everything related to 3D virtual identities. We are seeing more and more people trying to showcase themselves in platforms like video games like Roblox, and it have a lot to do with the customization of your character, how you dress. There was this market research by Roblox on their users, and they realized that only some people even try, let's say, a garment or an outfit or a hairstyle in the platform. And then once they get the, let's say, validation of the community, of their friends and everything, then they use the same hairstyle, the same garment in
Yeah.
real life. I think in 5, 10 years, everybody would have an avatar that.
Yeah, that's amazing. So that leads me to my next question. As digital assets and avatars gain prominence, what are your thoughts on the future of this space? And how, of course, is Union Avatars positioning itself to lead in this very evolving landscape?
I think there are different points. For example, if we talk about digital fashion, we are seeing more and more how different brands are starting to use everything related to digital to be able to test and see before producing the actual real garment. And based on the demand, they can decide if it makes sense to produce it or not. So this way, we also reduce environmental impact and say using less resources or wasting less resources. Then when it comes specifically about the virtual identity or the avatar projection for the identities, I think especially back in the days now, people was tending to have a nickname and then represent themselves by this nickname, or being able to use it across time to have their virtual identity. And that's something that we are recovering with these avatars. So I think it's interesting that people can project themselves in a 3D virtual way. And then also what we are feeling, because we started with the realistic avatars, as you mentioned, but then we also have a different style, more cartoonish now.
Yeah, I saw that.
And so what we're feeling is that people, it really depends on the person, what they want to there's people that want to have an exact digital twin of themselves. There's people who prefer to have let's say, a superhero version of themselves or a stylish version of themselves. So it really depends. I would say also on the environment. Maybe if you are playing a video game, you might prefer a cartoon avatar with a sword, I don't know, a helmet. But if you think with a bank, maybe you feel a little bit more trust. You are talking to an actual realistic avatar.
Yeah. It's so interesting, the points that you've highlighted on both sides, the fact that there is such a great sort of impact that this could have on limiting the waste of resources. So that's the sustainability side, but also culturally, like people do want to pick and choose how they present themselves online. So the fact that you're offering all the options, that's phenomenal. This is such a niche space. In your journey as a founder, what has been the most persistent challenge that you faced? And could you talk about some of the strategies that you've employed to address it?
I think, especially at the beginning, we had to do a lot of education related to it. We are doing a lot of education related to the avatars, related to the usage of the avatars, the different use cases that people have for it. And then also trying to make companies understand that this can save time and money for them. So our approach, for example, when it comes more B2B, we work with a lot of corporations where they are using Build-to-3 platforms to, I don't know, for example, do onboarding of new hiring. So instead of having to move a lot of people to one specific physical place, they actually have it virtually. So this way they are saving time from the workers. They can do it from home, so they don't have to stay away from family. And at the same time, they're saving. So I think that's of the challenging points. Then also going more into the technology. At the end of the day, we're working with machine learning algorithms that we are creating, that we are training ourselves. But there is a new technology coming almost every day, so you have to be really up to date. So don't get too stick or too in love with something that you have done and ready, and being able to move to anything that is coming.
Talk about an evolving landscape, right? That is exactly what it is. So I do imagine, especially as a creative, like it is hard to, or at least I find it difficult to let go of what you've established or work so hard to put in place. And then you got to do it all over again and keep doing that. Wow. And on that topic, fostering a culture that blends that creativity with technology, it can be really difficult. So how do you encourage innovation and collaboration within your team at Union Avatars?
I think we luckily have a team of people who really know what they are doing and came to Union Avatars specifically because they wanted to work in Union Avatars, not in a tech company.
Yeah.
So everybody have previous experiences related to it. I think it's interesting. There's always a balance between the tech and the art part. At the same time, we try to be super open to collaborations with people from the outside, let's say. So opening our platform to different designers, different creators that can use it. At the beginning, we were full remote. Now we are doing a lot of physical meetings too. And I think it will lead to a point where the tech team and the art team are really connected. So know what you are doing and what's the output of what you are doing.
Yeah.
So it gives more cohesion on that team.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's the interesting thing about these two sort of different ends of the spectrum coming together to create something so special is that once you hit the nail on the head, you reach a flow state and you can just keep it going. So that's clearly what you guys have managed to accomplish. Yeah. So, shifting gears a little bit, reflecting on your career, could I ask what is one piece of advice that you wish you received earlier? And would it have changed your approach to leading union avatars?
Try to see these points of innovation where you can access and where you can have improvements, especially when you are doing a startup. Sometimes perfection can be an enemy. Everybody wants to do it perfectly and everything, but then this also can mean having a lot of delays on releases and everything. And going back to the first thing that I was saying, not you have a hypothesis of something, but you need to validate. So if you take too much time in releasing it, it can take too long to validate, and maybe you spend a lot of time or money in something that you see it's going to be the way, and then once you release it, you realize it's not. So always trying to test, trying to get feedback fast and quick and cheap. And then have the validation that you can put more time trying to make it perfect, but don't get too obsessed with perfection.
Yeah.
And for me, that's a big lesson because I'm like trying to make it super good, super perfect and everything. So it's never ready, let's say. But then once you release it, maybe you don't get the feedback that you wanted. So I think it's important to be able to ship fast, get the feedback, and then if it makes sense, then that's important.
Yeah, absolutely. That does make sense. And I think a lot of the guests that I've had the privilege of speaking to on this show, they have the same sentiment. They say the exact same thing that when you're in the start, you just want to get it perfect and then launch. But so many people say you have to iterate with the feedback from your community and from your customers or your client side.
And finding good ways of, sorry to interrupt you, finding good ways of getting feedback. At the end of the day, if you ask your mother what she thinks about your application and everything, probably she will say only good things, even if she don't understand. So it's important that you get the feedback from the target that you are looking
Yeah.
for and finding ways of getting this actual feedback without having to ask them that much. But
Yeah.
seeing their behavior, how they use the platform, how they use the product, and then you can understand what makes sense.
It's interesting because I would imagine that when you start your own venture, it's such an insecure time in the sense that everything feels like very unstable or risky, but also exciting. So the fact that during this phase, you also have to practice humility, because that's what is required when you want feedback. So, very good point.
The line between believing in yourself and being arrogant is a thin line.
Mm.
So you have to be humble, being able to accept feedback, accept criticism, because at the end of the day, it's just to improve. Building one venture like this is just a roller coaster. One day you will be super happy, one day you will be super sad. So you have to be resilient and just fight for what you want.
In light of the recent investment from Mango, which is definitely good news, what new opportunities do you see for Union Avatars in terms of innovation and market reach? And how do you plan to capitalize on those opportunities?
The opportunity to work with Mango and get investment from them, so validation from the market, like a way to understand that we are going in the right path. We have been working with their team on something related to avatar chatbots because it's one of the new trends, I would say, that is coming.
Yeah.
Also on the fashion part, understanding that on these big brands and big corporations just like Mango, even though Mango has been always trying to be super innovative with the e-commerce, even they were one of the first ones and everything. It's interesting to see that they have an interest on this side. And for us also, we have been much more neutral when it comes to the usage of the avatars, especially at the beginning. These also give us an understanding that everything related to digital fashion makes sense, and it's a way to go also related to the avatars. Again, we don't have our own fashion brand or our digital fashion brand, but I think we are giving a platform for fashion brands.
That's incredibly exciting. And I did want to congratulate you guys on that, because when the news came out at Brink, everyone in the office was talking about it and celebrating your success. So that's awesome. And we're very happy for you.
Thank you.
Um,
Nice. Thank you.
Yeah. So that brings me to the fact that Union Avatars, the reason we are sitting down having this conversation, you guys participated in Brink's 2023 Web3 Accelerator program. I just want to ask you, what were your main objectives going into it? And could you talk about how well the program has supported those goals?
So me personally, I've been in Web3. 2023 was the first year that we were starting to look into Web3 and trying to onboard users from Web2 to Web3. So I think having the opportunity to work with Brinc and other mentors and other partners that you have in the program was a really good chance of knowing what makes sense. We look into blockchain not that much from the monetary side, more from the enabling technology side. So I think it was super interesting to work with different partners, even with the different companies on the portfolio. And then in the other side, also everything related to gaming. As I was saying at the beginning, when we started, we were more working with corporations, but then since a year, we are also trying to reach out to more game studios and game developers. So I think it was also really interesting to understand the scope of the Web3 gaming industry. And now we are collaborating with different games that we got partners that got to meet there. And then on the output, I would say Bring for us has been one of the best, if not the best, program that we participated, not only because of the program itself, but especially afterwards. I think even after the program was finished, we always spent a lot of support. We're still talking with the people on the team, from the program managers to the people who is managing the portfolio. I think we are getting a lot of help from them, a lot of tips, resources. So what I like most from the Bring program is not only the program itself, but all the work that has been done afterwards. Yeah, like the support that we got. We did all the accelerators, and once you finish the course, it's done. what will bring a lasting relationship.
Here, I'm so glad you feel that way. My manager was actually telling me that we're expecting to see you in Singapore at Token 2049
Good.
next week anyway. So that's a great
Thank you.
example of exactly what you're talking about. We like
Perfect.
to maintain our relationship. So I'm glad that's coming through.
Uh,
And before we move on to the quick game that we play at the end of our interviews, I only have one last interview question for you. And that is, what's on the horizon for Union Avatars? Is there any other upcoming projects or news that you'd like to share with our audience?
There are some interesting projects that I cannot tell about yet, but something that I can speak about is we're releasing new styles for the avatar generator. For us, it's just like in real life. You don't dress the same when you go to the gym or to the office. So we understand that in virtual platforms, it should be the same. So we're trying to release more and more styles, becoming more like a hub for avatars, even uploading your own avatars that you might design with your software. And then we're also working on this Union ID that basically is the same wallet for avatar, where you can store the different avatars and then use it across multiple platforms.
Wow.
So I would say that are two of the most interesting projects. We're using some new features before the end of the year that I think it make it really interesting.
Very exciting news.
Perfect.
And we will be sure to spread that update with the Brink community. So thanks so much for sharing that. Before we let you go, it's time to play On the Brink's quick fire question segment called Madness or Greatness. So, Kai, your task is to judge each scenario as either madness, meaning a desperate entrepreneurial faux pas, as in don't do it, or greatness, a strategy or habit that could pave the way to success. All right.
Perfect.
Number one, expanding your product line rapidly without first securing a stable customer base. What are your thoughts?
I would say madness.
Number two, prioritizing fundraising over product development in the early stages of your startup.
Madness. And this, I would say, based on the experience, it's really important that you have traction before going actually for fundraising.
Yeah.
Because it's what we were saying before. You need validation of the market before starting anything.
Absolutely. Number three, delegating key company decisions entirely to your management team while focusing solely on the vision.
I would say madness, especially at the beginning. I think a founder have to participate in a lot of like product meetings, product decisions, the first clients. I think until you reach, let's say, a minimum income for your company, you have to participate in the sales part, and understanding the client is really important. So yes, definitely I would say.
Building a fully remote team from day one, leveraging digital tools for all operations.
I think greatness.
Yeah.
If you are able to have a remote team that works on time and everything.
Pursuing partnerships with established companies, even if it means sacrificing some control over your product.
I would say greatness with certain limitations, but yeah, I think it's interesting to have certain partnerships that can help you grow them up. Again, with certain limitations, so that boost the culture to the goal.
Absolutely. All right. Well, that's all we have for you today, Kai. Thank you so much for your time. Do you have anything to add before we close off?
Thank you for all those who are watching and thinking about joining Brinc. Definitely try it. Apply for.
Thank you, Kai. To find out more about Union Avatars, please visit unionavatars.com. And to learn more about all the other amazing founders and mentors in Brink's ecosystem, head to brink.io. And don't forget to subscribe for the next episode of On the Brinc, now available on YouTube and Spotify. See you next time.